Have you ever just looked around and wondered why some people seem to get rich so easily while the rest of us are struggling? Well, spoiler alert, it is not about working harder. Today, we're going to break down the one single rule from Robert Kiyosaki's legendary book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. If you can get your head around this one idea, it can literally change your financial life forever. Let's do this. Right off the bat, Kiyosaki drops a bomb. He says the problem isn't our work ethic, the problem is what we're taught, or maybe what we are not taught. See, school teaches us how to be a good employee, how to trade our time for a paycheck. But the real secret to wealth, that's about making your money work for you. And that's the one piece of the puzzle that's almost always missing.
So I want you to just forget everything you think you know about getting ahead financially. This isn't about getting a better degree or climbing another rung on the corporate ladder. No, this is about learning a whole new language, the language of money. And according to this book, most of our financial pain comes from just not being fluent in it.
Does this feel a little too familiar? You work your tail off, you finally get that raise you've been hoping for, and then, poof, somehow your bills just magically expand to eat up every last cent. You're putting in the hours, you're being responsible, but that feeling of actually, getting ahead, it's always just out of reach. It's such a frustrating cycle, and the book pinpoints exactly why it keeps happening.
Okay, but here is where everything can change. The solution that Rich Dad Poor Dad offers isn't some crazy, complicated investment strategy. It's actually just one simple, incredibly powerful rule. This is it. This is the foundation that all wealth is built on. That's it. Seriously, that's the big secret. I know, it sounds almost too simple, right? But Kiyosaki argues that this is pretty much the only rule you need to know. The main reason most people never build any real wealth is because they just fundamentally misunderstand the difference between these two things. And here is the difference in a nutshell. The rich focus their time, their energy, and their money on one thing, and one thing only, buying assets. Everyone else? Well, they spend their money and their lives buying liabilities that they think are assets. And that right there is the single biggest mistake keeping people stuck.
Forget all the confusing definitions you heard in business class. Kiyosaki keeps it so simple a kid could understand it. An asset is anything that puts money in your pocket. That's it. Does it generate cash for you month after month, whether you work or not? If the answer is yes, then hey, congratulations, you've got an asset. Think of a rental property bringing in rent or stocks that pay dividends.
And this little diagram shows you exactly how it works. See that arrow? Your asset is over here in its little box, and it's acting like a money machine, just pumping cash directly into your income column. That is what it looks like when your money is working for you, instead of the other way around. And of course, on the flip side, we have liabilities. The definition is just as simple. A liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket. It's a constant drain on your finances. It creates expenses that you have to pay for, usually with money from your paycheck. That car loan, your credit card debt, you guessed it, those are liabilities. And this diagram tells the complete opposite story. A liability just sits there, demanding to be paid. It pulls money out of your pocket and into the expense column. The cash is flowing away from you. So the most important question you can ask about anything you buy is simple. Which way is the money flowing?
All right, now this is where things get really interesting, because these simple definitions, they actually tell the story of a person's entire financial life. Kiyosaki uses these simple diagrams to show us exactly why the rich, the poor, and the middle class all end up in completely different places financially.
So first up, let's look at the cash flow pattern of a poor person. Money comes in from a job, and it goes right back out to cover basic expenses like rent, food, taxes, you name it. And notice the boxes on the bottom for assets and liabilities? They're empty. There's nothing being built. It's pure hand-to-mouth survival.
Now let's check out the middle class. Okay, the salary from the job is bigger, but look where all the money goes. It flows in and then right back out through the expense column to pay for a bunch of liabilities. Things like a mortgage, car loans, student loans, credit card debt. The money gets trapped, servicing debt instead of building any real wealth. And this is what the book famously calls the rat race. It's that endless, exhausting cycle of working harder to make more money, only so you can afford more liabilities, which forces you to work even harder just to keep your head above water. It's like running on a financial hamster wheel and getting absolutely nowhere. But here's the good news. There is a way out, and this diagram shows it. The cash flow of a rich person tells a totally different story. Look closely at their income. It's not coming from a 9-to-5 job. No, it's flowing from their asset column, things like businesses, real estate, stocks, and that income from their assets, pays for their entire lifestyle. And this creates this amazing, powerful, almost unstoppable cycle. The income from the assets is more than enough to cover their expenses. So what do they do with the extra cash? They reinvest it to buy more assets, and those new assets generate even more income. And that is how the rich get richer. Their money is working hard so they don't have to. You know, once you truly understand this flow of money, it changes everything. It even changes how you should define what wealth is. It's not about how big your paycheck is or even some net worth number on a spreadsheet. It's about something way more real, way more practical. Kiyosaki actually borrows this definition from the genius R. Buckminster Fuller, and it's profound. Wealth isn't a dollar amount. Wealth is a measure of time. It's the ultimate measure of your financial freedom. How many days could you survive if your paycheck just stopped? So here's the real gut check question for you. Right now, if you walked away from your job today, how long could you survive? A week? A month? A few years? The honest answer to that question, measured in days, is your true wealth. The goal isn't just to be rich. The goal is to have enough assets generating income so that you can be free. So what does all this mean for you, for me, for all of us? Well, the biggest takeaway from the book is that your financial destiny isn't up to your boss or the government or the economy. It's determined by the little choices you make with your money every single day. So the book really lays out two different paths. Path number one is the one we all know. You work hard for 50 years, you pay a ton in taxes, you try to save what's left, and you just hope it's enough to retire on. Or there's path two, the road less traveled. You take the time to build your financial intelligence so you can get your money working for you. Both paths are hard, for sure, but they lead to very, very different places. And this really is the ultimate point. Your salary is not your greatest asset. Your house is not your greatest asset. The single most powerful asset we all have is our mind. If you train it, if you invest in it, it can create unbelievable wealth out of thin air. Your financial education is the first and most important investment you will ever make. And in the end, it all comes down to this one powerful idea. Every single dollar that passes through your hands comes with a choice. You can spend it, and you're choosing to be poor. You can use it to buy a liability, and you're choosing to be middle class. Or you can use it to buy a true asset, and in doing so, you are choosing to build a future of wealth and freedom. The choice is always yours.